Unusually, Target started from a bizarre church fire and calamity that befell a church. Real estate mogul George Dayton snatched a golden chance out of the ashes around the turn of the century. Target has since then become so big a brand that they can tell if a shopper is pregnant when the relatives do not know. In this video, you will find out how Target moved from one store to about 2,000 stores and opened 11 stores in one day. During the economic crisis that started in 1893, the Westminster Presbyterian Church in downtown Minneapolis caught fire, 1895, and the congregation began fundraising for a new structure since insurance would not cover the entire cost. To rebuild, members of the congregation pleaded with active parishioner George Dayton to buy the vacant corner lot next to the old churches. On this land, Dayton subsequently built a 6-story structure. Dayton was looking for tenants and persuaded the Reuben Simon Goodfellow Company to relocate its Goodfellows department store from the neighboring area into the newly constructed building in 1902. The shop's original owner had retired and sold to Dayton his stake in the business. In 1903, it became known as the Dayton Dry Goods Company. By 1910, it had been simplified to just the Dayton Company. Dayton ran the firm as a family concern under tight supervision and Presbyterian principles, despite his lack of retail expertise and extensive network as a banker. As a result, the shop banned the sale of booze, avoided placing advertising in periodicals that included liquor promotions, and prohibited all operations on Sundays. Dayton established the Dayton Foundation with $1 million in 1918 after donating much of his fortune to charity. The Dayton Company had grown to be a multi-million-dollar enterprise by the 1920s when it moved into the full 6-story structure. After Dayton's first son, David, died at 43 in 1923, he started giving Nelson more responsibility in the family company. Before the 1929 Wall Street crash, the firm had its first expansion when it bought Minneapolis jeweler J.B. Hudson & Son. Throughout the Great Depression, its jewelry shop ran at a net loss, but the department store survived the financial crisis. After Dayton passed away in 1938, his son Nelson took over as president and continued his father's conservative management style and adherence to stringent Presbyterian principles. The company was worth $14 million. Nelson Dayton's management saw an uptick in sales thanks to their efforts to keep shelves supplied during the war. Dayton gave over the department store's electric sign to the scrap metal efforts started by the War Production Board. It was among the first American retailers to provide retirement benefits to employees in 1944, and was among the first to provide health insurance to workers in 1950. Since 1946, the company has given 5% of its taxable revenue to the Dayton Foundation. In 1970, with 24 stores in operation, Target stores hit $200 million in sales, thanks in large part to opening 7 additional locations, 2 of which were in Wisconsin. At the time, Dayton Hudson predicted that profits from its bargain stores would soon surpass those of its department stores. In January 1970, Dayton Hudson announced that its headquarters would be located in the IDS Center, the first skyscraper of the modern age to be completed in Minneapolis, Minnesota. They remained there until the year 2000. The Arlen's department store network in Colorado, Iowa, and Oklahoma was purchased by Dayton Hudson in 1971, increasing its store count by 16. 2 of the former shops reopened as Target locations in the same year. Overall, sales for Dayton Hudson topped $1 billion, with Target accounting for just a small percentage of that total. In 1987, Target reopened the previously acquired Gemco stores under the Target name. The company expanded into Michigan and Nevada, opening 6 stores in Detroit to compete with Kmart, headquartered in the same city. This brought Target's total number of stores to 317, with sales of $5.3 billion across 24 states. After Bruce Albright left Target to become president of Dayton Hudson, Bob Ulrich took over as the company's chairman and CEO. Dart Group made a hostile takeover effort by buying up many of its shares. During the summer session, the Minnesota legislature adopted 6 of Kenneth Mackey's proposed revisions to the state's anti-takeover statute that year, in 1983. Thus, the Dart Group could not convene a shareholders' meeting to elect a board that would be friendly to the Dart Group if the offer became hostile. Dart made a lowball offer of $65 per share before increasing it to $68. Dart's effort to take over Dayton-Hudson was thwarted when the value of Dayton-Hudson shares dropped to $28.75 on the day of the stock market collapse in October 1987. The decision cost Dart an estimated $70 million in lost profits if taxes were taken into account. In 1988, Target stores entered the Pacific Northwest by building 8 stores in Washington and 3 in Oregon, bringing its total to 341 stores across 27 states. In addition to a new distribution center in Indianapolis, Indiana, it also constructed a facility in Sacramento, California. In 1989, the company opened an additional 60 locations, mostly in the southeastern United States, where it entered the markets of Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, and South Carolina, bringing its total number of stores to 399 throughout 30 states, with total sales of $7.51 billion. The first Target Greatland General Goods Superstore was established in Apple Valley, Minnesota in 1990, when Target stores bought Marshall Fields from Bottas, Inc. With $9.01 billion in sales in 1991, Target Stores has established 43 Target Greatland locations. They opened 2 Everyday Hero specialized clothing shops in the Minneapolis area in 1992 and quickly went out of business. To compete with other specialty clothing retailers like Gap, they offered their own private label clothing line, Merona. Target launched 11 locations in Chicago on the same day in March 1993, a feat that even Starbucks has accomplished. This was the first time Walmart, Kmart, and Target were all competing against one another in a big area. And the bold launch may have been designed as a declaration of retail war against competition. In 1996, the 5th biggest retailer in the United States, J.C. Company Incorporated, proposed to acquire the 4th largest retailer, Dayton-Hudson, for $6.82 billion. Dayton-Hudson rejected the offer, claiming it chose to stay independent, although most analysts saw it as undervaluing the firm. While the business's other 2 department store operations faltered, Target Stores raised its store count to 736 units in 38 states with $17.8 billion in sales and remained the key source of growth for the company. The department stores division ran 26 Marshall Fields, 22 Hudsons, and 19 Daytons, while the middle market stores division ran 300 Mervyn's locations throughout 16 states. Both Everyday Hero locations shut down in the same year, 1997. Target's total number of stores increased to 796, and the company reported $20.2 billion in revenue. To help turn around its department store chains, Mervyn's eliminated 35 locations, including its entire presence in Florida and Georgia. In addition to closing its Milwaukee location, Marshall Field has auctioned off its remaining locations in Texas. In 1998, Dayton-Hudson bought the Associated Merchandising Corporation, a clothing distributor, and the Greenspring Company's Rivertown Trading Company, a multi-catalog direct marketing company owned by Minnesota Communications Group. Target now has 851 locations and generates $23 billion annually. Nearly 10 million people have signed up for the Target Guest Card program. Dayton-Hudson bought Fedco and its 10 shops in Southern California in 1999 to open a Super Target. With the addition of these 9 shops, Target now has a total of 912 sites throughout 44 states and $26 billion in annual sales. 6 of these locations were reopened under the Target brand, while the other 4 were sold to Walmart, Home Depot, and the Ontario Police Department. Dayton-Hudson had a rise in revenue to $33.7 billion and a net income of $1.14 billion, crossing the $1 billion threshold for the first time and almost doubling 1996's earnings of $463 million. Ulrich's efforts to promote high-quality goods at cheap costs at the Target chain significantly contributed to the company's financial success. The company's cheap retail business, Target, debuted its Target.com website as an e-commerce site on September 7, 1999. When it first launched, the site sold items, including its Michael Graves brand, that set it apart from similar retailers. The company, formerly known as Dayton Hudson Corporation, changed its name and ticker symbol to TGT in January 2000. At that time, Target stores were responsible for 75 to 80% of the company's sales and profitability. Target was able to spin off a new firm under its wing named Target Direct by integrating its Rivertown trading division with its online activities. Due to a trend in customer choice away from private label cards like the Target Guest Card and toward those issued by big financial institutions, Target developed the Target Visa. It intended to handle its premium department shops division, which covered 19 Dayton's, 21 Hudson's, and 24 Marshall Field's locations, under a single roof in preparation for the debut of its online gift registry in 2001. The corporation stated in January that the shops previously known as Dayton's and Hudson's would be rebranded Marshall Field's. Marshall Field was picked because it's the largest chain, has the most famous name in the department store sector, has a larger headquarters than Dayton and Hudson, both of which are headquartered in Minneapolis and Detroit respectively, and is located in a significant transportation hub. With the purchase of the main location, Target presently has 1,053 stores across 47 states, producing $33 billion annually. Around the same time, the firm went to Pittsburgh with remarkable success, seizing on the bankruptcy of the Ames department stores as it entered the market. Lake City, Florida is home to a Target food delivery facility, T3892. Target opened a branch in Mysore, Indiana, and anticipated building extra office space in the Mysore corporate campus after completing construction on the Robert J. Ulrich Center at Embassy Golf Links in Bangalore. The firm grew to 1,488 outlets with revenues of $59.4 billion in a year. On January 9, 2008, CEO Bob Ulrich announced his retirement and nominated Greg Steinhoffel to replace him. Ulrich departed Target because of the company's strategy of requiring its senior executives to retire at age 65. His exit as CEO took effect on May 1st, although he stayed to serve as board chairman until the close of the 2008 fiscal year. Target's first overseas location opened in Guam on March 4, 2009. At the same time that 2 shops opened in Alaska, 2 more opened on the Hawaiian island of Oahu. The media reported massive crowds and strong sales despite the economic crisis. With the entrance of Hawaii, Target is now present in every state except Vermont. Aiming to provide $1 billion to schools and education-related organizations by 2015, Target committed back in June 2010. The program Liberty Makeovers for Underserved Schools, Target is stressed here. According to reports, stronger competition from home improvement shops, Walmart, and independent garden centers drove Target to liquidate its remaining 262 garden centers around the U.S. in August 2010. Target stores around the country started introducing a new fruit area in September 2010. The Lake City, Florida facility was Target's first food distribution center, and it opened in 2008. An anonymous worker at the corporation revealed to the New York Times Magazine in 2012 that shopping data analytics might be used to determine whether or not a customer is pregnant. For example, a transaction history was used to identify typical second trimester buys like unscented moisturizers and dietary supplements like calcium and zinc. The business might also calculate a customer's expected delivery date and provide relevant promotions. Creepy? Certainly, as shown by a call made to a Minneapolis shop by the distraught parent of a teen whose daughter had been receiving discounts for baby items. As it turns out, he had no idea she was expecting. Target and the Walt Disney Company announced their intent to collaborate on opening Disney stores inside certain Target stores on August 25, 2019. The average Disney store at Target's shop-in-shop square footage is 750 feet. On October 8, 2019, True Kids and Target jointly announced that they would collaborate on the relaunch of the Toys R Us website, toysrus.com. Customers who go to toysrus.com but want to buy anything are sent to target.com instead. After filing for bankruptcy, the website not only gives Toys R Us a digital presence, but also gives Target a sales boost in the toy department. Brian Cornell, CEO, attended former President Trump's speech on the COVID-19 pandemic on March 13, 2020. Target, Walmart, CVS, and Walgreens have all shown interest in having COVID-19 tested in their shops. Target, like other major U.S. businesses, instituted mask policies for all customers on July 16, 2020. Toys R Us at the Sugar House Shopping Center closed in 2016, and on March 14, 2021, a Target opened at the same location at 1249 Simpson Avenue in Salt Lake City, Utah, replacing the former Nordstrom rack. In addition, Target added Mondo Llama, Favorite Day, and Kindful to its exclusively owned brands. In addition, Ulta Beauty at Target was introduced, while Target's existing relationships with Disney, Apple, and Levi Strauss & Co. were strengthened. Success is making ourselves useful in the world, valuable to society, helpful in lifting the level of humanity, so conducting ourselves that when we go, the world will be somewhat better off having lived the brief span of our lives. George Draper Dayton, founder of Target Corp. Founded in 1962 as the Dayton Dry Goods Company, Target Corporation is now a Fortune 100 company with headquarters in Minneapolis, Minnesota, United States. Beauty and health items, bedding, apparel and accessories, electronics, food, furniture, jewelry, lawn and garden, pet supplies, shoes, small appliances, toys and games, and many more are just some of the numerous categories covered by the company's offerings. Target Corp is one of the biggest retailers in the United States and among the top 2,000 in the world, employing over 368,000 people and operating stores in all 50 states and the District of Columbia.